And the last thing to do from this aggregation here is to return some object, which will then get stored in the final result returned from our rollup. And here we simply return the attendance, the x, and the y, which correspond to the total, the center x, and the center y that we computed. And again, the last part of this is to simply pass our data using the .entries function through all of these transforms. If we put a debugger right after all of the nest function, we can then inspect both the input to the nest pipeline and the output. Again, we can examine what data is before we pass it through nest. In this case, all the rows of our attendance data, which corresponds to an array of 836 elements. And if we examine what gets returned and stored in our nested array, we can see that nested is an array of objects of length 20, which happens to correspond to the total number of World Cups that have been held over the years. And if we inspect each nested object, you can see here that it has a key corresponding to what we defined in our key function, or rather the year of the game, and it has a values object, which corresponds to what we returned from our rollup function, which has the total attendance for a year, the x pixel coordinate, and the y pixel coordinate. And while this may seem like a lot of data transformation work to be doing in our JavaScript and in D3, if you understand these types of grouping and aggregates, it allows you to create very powerful interactive graphics where the data you load might have to take on many different forms depending on how your user interacts with your visualization. But enough data munging in the browser, let's get back to our map.